There's something undeniably strange about the relationship between Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. They divorced nearly 3 decades ago, yet they never really left each other's lives. They still appear together. They still support one another. And at times, they've even lived under the same roof. To the outside world, it looks like an unusually close friendship between two former spouses. But the deeper you look, the more questions begin to surface. Why were royal couples separate officially, but remain emotionally and practically connected for so long? What keeps them tied together despite controversy, scandal, and public pressure? This is where the story gets complicated. Because behind the headlines and carefully managed appearances lies a relationship that doesn't follow any normal rules and possibly hides more than it reveals. When Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson married in 1986, the energy surrounding them was completely different from other royal couples of time. She wasn't quiet or reserved. She was bold, outspoken, and full of personality. He, on the other hand, was confident and already deeply embedded in royal life. Their chemistry felt real. They laughed together. They seemed relaxed in each other's presence. And for a moment, it looked like they might become one of the monarchy's most modern and relatable couples. But that image didn't last long. Almost immediately after the wedding, cracks began to form, not because of one single issue, but because of a lifestyle that made a normal relationship nearly impossible. Andrew's naval career kept him away for long stretches, while Fergie was left to navigate royal expectations largely on her own. That isolation became one of the defining pressures in their marriage. Royal life is demanding under the best circumstances, but for someone like Sarah Ferguson, it was overwhelming. Every move was watched, every mistake was magnified, and unlike others in the family, she didn't naturally fit the traditional mold. Instead of being protected, she often became a target. Negative headlines followed her constantly, criticizing her behavior, her spending, even her personality. Over time, the pressure built into something much bigger than simple media scrutiny. It created a sense of instability around the marriage itself. Meanwhile, Andrew's absence only made things worse. The distance between them wasn't just physical, it became emotional. And eventually, that distance led to decisions that would permanently alter how the public saw them. By the early 1990s. Their relationship had become one of the most talked about royal stories in the world, but not for the right reasons. Scandal took center stage. Images surfaced that embarrassed not just Sarah Ferguson, but the entire royal family. The media reaction was relentless. What might have been a private issue became a global spectacle. There was no coming back from that level of exposure. In 1996, their divorce was finalized. On paper, it looked like a clean break, the end of a troubled royal marriage that simply couldn't survive the pressure. But that's not what actually happened. Most divorced couples move on. They create distance. They rebuild separate lives. Andrew and Fergie did the opposite. They stayed close, unusually close. They continued appearing together in public settings. They maintained a friendly and familiar dynamic. And most surprisingly, they kept sharing aspects of their daily lives. At times, they even lived together again. This wasn't typical co-parenting. Their daughters were growing up, and yet the bond between Andrew and Fergie seemed just as strong as ever. It raised an obvious question. If the relationship was truly over, why did it never actually end? One explanation lies in the practical side of their lives. After the divorce, Sarah Ferguson faced significant financial challenges. Business ventures didn't always succeed, and her lifestyle, shaped by years inside the royal circle, was difficult to maintain independently. Prince Andrew, meanwhile, remained in a position of privilege and stability. He provided support, housing, financial help, and a sense of security. And over time, that support may have created a dynamic where separating completely became nearly impossible. But dependency alone doesn't fully explain the emotional closeness that continued between them. There was something deeper keeping them connected. In recent years, Prince Andrew's reputation has faced intense scrutiny. Controversies surrounding him have significantly changed how the public perceives him. Many expected Sarah Ferguson to distance herself, to step away in order to protect her own image. She didn't. Instead, she remained by his side. She defended him. She continued to show support even when public opinion turned sharply against him. That kind of loyalty is rare, especially after divorce. It suggests a bond that goes beyond convenience or shared history. It hints at something more personal, something that hasn't been broken despite everything that has happened. Over the years, speculation has grown about the true nature of their relationship. Some believe they never stopped loving each other. Others think they formed a private agreement, an understanding that allows them to maintain their connection without officially redefining it. There have even been whispers that their relationship quietly evolved into something that exists outside traditional labels. Not quite married, not quite separated, something in between, and perhaps that intentional. Because in the world they belong to, public image matters. Titles matter. Appearances matter. And sometimes, keeping things undefined offers more control than giving them a clear name. If there's more to their relationship than they admit, why not be open about it? The answer may lie in the complexity of their position. Royal connections come with expectations about behavior, reputation, and legacy. Any shift in their relationship would immediately become global news, inviting new scrutiny and new questions. Staying ambiguous allows them to avoid that. It lets them maintain their bond while keeping the details private. It protects them from having to explain something that might not fit into conventional expectations. And perhaps most importantly, it keeps the narrative in their control. What makes Andrew and Fergie's situation so fascinating is how completely it defies normal patterns. They married, divorced, and yet never truly separated. They faced public scandal, personal challenges, and intense media pressure, and still remain connected. Whether that connection is based on love, loyalty, shared history, or something more complicated, one thing is clear: it hasn't disappeared. In a world where relationships often fade quickly under pressure, theirs has endured. Quietly, consistently, and in a way that continues to raise questions. So what is the real truth behind Andrew and Fergie's current relationship? Is it a love story that never fully ended? A partnership built on mutual support and shared experiences? Or something far more complex? Something shaped by secrets, circumstances, and choices they've chosen not to explain? The truth may never be fully revealed. But the clues are there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for those willing to look a little deeper. And the more you look, the harder it becomes to believe that their story is as simple as it seems. If you enjoyed uncovering this hidden side of royal life, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more stories that go beyond the headlines and reveal what's really going on behind the scenes.